Yo, 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 what's going down? This is episode 137 of the Collective Podcast. I am AC from LA. That guy over there is SG Trilogy. And together we are the Collective Podcast. How you feeling over there, brother?
Man, I'm feeling great on this Saturday morning, man. Happy to see you. Woke up after a great night's sleep. Got a little workout in this morning, so I'm feeling good, man. How you doing?
Yep, I'm doing well too. Thank you. Glad you got some good rest. I had kind of a late night, but I did get some rest also. And so I'm just ready to get this going, get the show going, get the day going. You're 2 hours ahead, so I get up and prep for the show. I don't have time to work out before I get on, but I'll get my workout in today. Absolutely. So yeah, man. Well, I just got a text from Stevie. He said that he wanted to shout me out. So okay, Stevie, take it away. I mean, when Stevie calls,
Well, folks, for those of you who do not know, my main man, my brother from another, AC from LA, just celebrated his birthday yesterday. So please feel free to send him text. Please feel free to DM him and wish this young man a happy birthday. He's a blessing to so many people. And so it's great to be able to celebrate yet another trip around the sun for this young man. So happy birthday again, brother.
thank you for that, brother. I absolutely appreciate you for that. Um, yeah, thank you. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you so that you can tell them where to find us and that whole thing. And actually, I was about to share topics list and not actually the where to find us, but here, contact us. I would like for you to kick it to them like you normally do, my brother. Oh, thank you
Well,
so much, Elaine. Thank you. Oh, hold on, let me share. Elaine said happy birthday. Thank you, Elaine. Much love, much love.
good morning, Elaine. Good morning, everyone. So, we have a saying here at the Collective Podcast that Saturdays are always best when you connect with the Collective Podcast. And we truly believe so. So, various ways of connecting with us. You can go to our official website, which is the collectivepodcastofficial.com. On Facebook, we are TC Podcast Official. On YouTube, X, and Instagram, we are TC Pod Official. On Instagram, he is AC from LA, and I am yours truly, SG Trilogy. Thank you for joining us this morning. We truly appreciate you.
Yes, 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 absolutely. All right, so today we're going to um, start off with a little bit about the NBA. Then we'll go into the prelude to March Madness. We'll talk about women's hoops, talk about men's hoops, touch on a little bit of movement in Major League Soccer, then go into the culture, go into Tech Talk now. Don't know what my man is going to be talking about today. Oh, that's me. I'll be talking about something, but we don't know yet. You'll see. And then we'll go to the closeout. So this is episode 137. Once again, I would like to thank all of you for tuning in live or checking out the replay or listening on the DSPs. However you are consuming us, thank you, thank you, thank you. We absolutely appreciate you. Okay? So that being said, SG Trilogy. I gave you the alley oop, and I know you said you want to do something different. So go ahead. I did all that work. Didn't even say thank you. He just said I'm doing something different. Didn't even acknowledge the work. Just I'm doing something different. And yes, I wanted to say it live. I didn't say it via text. I wanted to give you some time to digest how you treated me. It's okay though. NCAA, men's hoops, and NBA, all the leg work, and you're like, cram. All right, go ahead, SG Trilogy. Talk to the people. Talk to the people.
Man, he's awake now. The caffeine has kicked in. He's ready to rock. Let's go. Let's go. So as we talk NBA, we're roughly three quarters through the season, and this is when things intensify and become exciting. When you have an 82 game season, when you're looking at games 1 through 30, it can be kind of dismal because you're saying, well, I still have 50 to 60 games remaining. But as we're three quarters through, We're about 20 plus games ahead of the playoffs. And so this is when it gets exciting. This is when you see teams typically start gelling. But then also, the downside of such is that you see when teams have injuries and unexpected injuries, and that could take some seasons that have been flourishing and great and lead to their demise. So, as we talk week 20 power rankings, you have those for me, brother. Week 20 power rankings. One thing that remains constant, and as a Lakers fan, it hurts, but one thing that remains constant is the Celtics remain the number one ranked team in the league. They have been consistent, and the Celtics, as of right now, at this juncture of the season, the Celtics look like they will be marching out of the East. So the Celtics look tough. And so power rankings for this week, they remain the top dog on the power rankings, followed by the Denver Nuggets. And the Nuggets, the defending champions, are rising at the right time. At the right time, they're coming together with Jokic and the supporting cast. The Nuggets are right there, right there. Followed by the young, and I've talked about them before, those young OKC Thunder. The Thunder's coming in at 3, and they remain in the third spot this week, followed by the Clippers. Now, the Clippers last week did have 2 meltdown games in which they had sizable leads, and they collapsed in the fourth quarter, but they're still coming in ranked 4th in the power rankings. Let's go to the Minnesota Timberwolves, who last night, Anthony Edwards did not show up and did not show out. He had a dismal game, and they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers in overtime. Good game nonetheless, at least for Cavaliers fans, but Timberwolves dropped the ball there. Milwaukee Bucks, they're coming in ranked 6th, but without LeBron James last night, the Lakers had different plans for the Bucks, and D'Angelo Russell lit them up for 44 points last night, lit the Bucks up, leading the Lakers to victory. So that was a good win for the Lakers, as I mentioned, without LeBron James, who, in basketball years, LeBron James is about 137 years old. So it's great when he can have some time off and the supporting cast picks up that weight. From there, Cleveland Cavaliers coming in at 7th. As mentioned, they did defeat the Minnesota Timberwolves last night, followed by the Heat. And when I talk the Heat, you know who I have to give some props to, AC. Your guy out of UCLA, Jaime. He's not playing.
Hawkins.
Bruh, he's not playing like a rookie. He's playing like a vet. And honestly, in college, his game was amazing. I didn't know his game was going to look like this in the NBA, but he can take players his size off the dribble. He can shoot, and Jaime plays great defense as well. So the Heat are coming in 8th this week, followed by the Mavericks, and we'll just close out with the Sacramento Kings at 10th. For more, of course, you can look as he scrolls down the list for the remaining teams in the top 25, or excuse me, in the top 30 of the power rankings.
Okay.
From there, let's talk about post All-Star. And as I said, the second half of the season by far is the most exciting part of the 82 game season. So when you talk about coming out of the gate quick after the All-Star game, we can say that in the form of the Denver Nuggets, since the All-Star game, they've come out this second half with a record of 7-1, followed by OKC with the record of 7-2, the Orlando Magic at 7-2, Milwaukee at 6-3, and Boston at 5-2. So these teams, as we are in the, I guess you can say the latter half of the season, these teams are putting it all together. And it looks like we're going to have some exciting times down this final stretch leading into the NBA playoffs. And that concludes a little NBA action for today, brother. Let's kick things back to you for some NCAA women's.
All right, man. I appreciate that. Back to me. Oh, Elaine, thanks again for saying happy birthday. I appreciate it. Okay, so a couple things, a couple directions we can go. So first of all, I just wanted to go through the top 25, which is the final top 25 of the season. Um, yeah, it's the final top 25 of the season because we're now in conference tournament play. The regular season has ended. So I'm going to go ahead and share this with you guys. And then I'll talk through a little bit about bracketology. So, yeah. All right. So, this is what we had for last week. And let me do the scrolling while I also talk. So these rankings came out March 3rd, and South Carolina's still on top. South Carolina's still undefeated, 29-0. Stanford and Iowa second and third, and Stanford moved up 2 spots in this ranking, and then Ohio State dropped from second to fourth. And newsflash, Ohio State dropped yesterday in their first game in their tournament. They got worked by Maryland. They got worked by Maryland. So they are absolutely going to drop out of the top four. They're going to drop to at least a 2 seed, and they might actually even be a 3 seed. And then Virginia Tech, which was a perennial leader in their conference throughout, and actually still won their conference regular season, had a horrible stretch to close the regular season. And so they wound up dropping from fifth and a possible number 1 seed to 11th. So they can't, even if they win their conference tournament, they can't even salvage a 1 seed at this point. And then just rounding out the top 10, SC looking really strong, moved up from 7 to 5. Texas dropped from 3 to 6, but Texas is a projected number 1 seed right now. You'll see that when we go to bracketology. LSU projected number 2 seed, UConn number 3 seed, and then NC State also projected number 3 seed, closing out the top 10. Did I skip UCLA? UCLA had a shot. Oh, well, let me go to bracketology. Hold on. So UCLA actually had a shot at a number 1 seed if they would have just made the final. Well, not just because it's a big thing. If they would have made the final of the Pac-12 conference tournament, and they almost did, but they ran into SC and wound up going to double overtime last night, and just SC outlasted us. SC outlasted UCLA. UCLA was just too tired. Um, in that second overtime. They wound up losing by 10. So like it's neck and neck the entire game, and then in double overtime, you just wind up getting blown out. And so that's what happened. And so nothing you could really do about that. So that makes them essentially a number 2 seed at this point. So this is what I have. Starting with the cream of the crop, like I said, we have South Carolina at the top. They've had a spectacular season. They also won their first round tournament game in the SEC. They can now lose, and they'll still be not just a number 1 seed, but the number 1 overall seed. Mississippi State, on the opposite end of the spectrum, looks like they're going to be the last team in, but also possibly the first team out. So Mississippi State is absolutely on the bubble. And Mississippi State won a championship probably about 8, 9, 10 years ago. They won a national championship, and now they're just so far out of it that they might not even make the tournament this year. Wisconsin Green Bay is also teetering on the edge, but they're not a perennial power. So that's actually good for them. As far as the number 1 seeds go, and this is up to date. Like I kicked this off this morning based on games through last night. Iowa, as a result of Ohio State getting worked by Maryland, has now moved into that number 1 seed that Ohio State held prior to the Maryland game. And then they also were dominant over Penn State. So like I said, they're looking like they're a number 1 seed now. And Texas, based on SC beating UCLA, Texas took the number at this point has taken the number 1 seed, vacated by UCLA. Or so UCLA didn't have it. They needed to beat USC to go into the number 1 seed, but they were projected to do that. They didn't need to beat Stanford in the tournament. I mean, in the conference tournament to get the number 1 seed. They just needed to make the final, and they fell a little short. So SC will be a number 2 seed. UCLA will be a number 2 seed. Michigan, Miami, Marquette, Auburn, they're all holding their breath trying to get in, and then Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Arizona, and Mississippi State are in but teetering, like I already said about Mississippi State. So Green Bay, Penn State, Washington State, and Columbia are also trying to get in. Penn State lost. Green Bay, Wisconsin, Green Bay still has a shot. Washington State is out, and Columbia is still playing. So we'll see what happens with them. But we have a 68 team bracket, just like the men, and so you have 4 teams. Well, you have 8 teams that'll play 4 playing games, and these are the projected playing games. High Point versus UT Martin. That game will be prior to the tournament to see who would have the honor of getting thrashed by South Carolina. Then you have the 11 seeds. You have Texas A&M, Vanderbilt playing, and the winner of that would go against West Virginia. You have Mississippi State, Arizona, with the winner going against Creighton. And then there should be one more. Did I lose it? Oh, Sacred Heart, Holy Cross for the right to play Iowa. So that is our outlook. The Pac 12 championship is Stanford versus USC. And it doesn't matter what happens in that game. SC will be a 2 seed. Stanford will be a number 1 seed. Even if SC wins, SC is still going to be a 2 seed. So they've plateaued. All right. So stay tuned for more. It's super duper exciting. We're going to see who can hold on to these seeds. The top ones that I told you about are locked in. And we'll see what happens the rest of the way. And I'll hand it over to my man Mamelo, because he eats a lot of Jello, Sam Gardner III SG Trilogy, to talk about the men.
All right, man. Well, I wanted to chime in actually with something for the
Nope, you
women.
can't chime in because guess what?
Yes,
What you said to me, I'm on blast. On blast. So you said you watching what tonight?
Seton Hall
Did you clarify?
men's.
Oh, so you just said Seton Hall, like they only have a men's team.
See, here we go. So that's why I'm going to address. That's why I'm going to address 2 things there. Thank
Hold
you.
on. So the Seton Hall women. Oh, you want to talk? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to talk. So let's go ahead. You can go ahead and hit that mute. There you go. Okay, so from there, it's been brought to my attention that I give so much props, and I always praise Seton Hall men's basketball, who have a relationship with head coach Shaw Holloway. So, okay, I'm going to do that. And I've taught several students from men's basketball over the years. So there you go. But as it pertains to Seton Hall women's basketball, their record is currently 17-13, and they have a tough opponent in number 21 Creighton. And so I'm wishing Seton Hall Pirates women's basketball. I'm wishing them a good game on the road in Omaha, and may Coach Tony Basello lead those ladies to victory. So let's go Pirates women. That's one thing. So there you go. We can check that off and move on. Yes. And then from there, man, Caitlin Clark's trophy case is expanding. And it seems like every single day, Caitlin Clark now is breaking some record of some sort. So her latest feat, Caitlin Clark, phenom point guard from the Iowa Hawkeyes women's basketball team. She has surpassed Steph Curry's collegiate record for one season of three-pointers made. He made 162 three-pointers as a student athlete at Davidson, and Caitlin Clark surpassed that yesterday. So kudos and props to Caitlin Clark for setting college basketball on fire. Notice I said college basketball, not just women's college basketball, but basketball as a whole. So props to Caitlin Clark. So I wanted to acknowledge, a couple of items there with women's basketball coverage. So thank you, brother.
All right, hold on. So that's fine. Thank you for that. I mean, let me ask you guys this. Do you think he was pressed to mention the Seton Hall women? Or do you think he just did it on his own? I'm asking them. I'm not asking you, brother. I give you props. You did it. You did your homework. 17-13. Oh, you had to write notes on it. You didn't.
It's on my
I bet
note.
you.
So
I bet you knew the
here's the
mentor.
thing.
You knew the
No,
mentor.
here- here's the thing. When people bring things to your attention, you have to be willing to listen
My
and
man.
evolve. So there you go.
Listen, we got to give it to
New
him.
HD trilogy.
Give it to that man. All right, now we're gonna give some. I gotta work this. I gotta share. I gotta do this. I have to share, and then I have to go to applause. So give me a second. Goodness gracious. All right, let me now go back to applause so we can get all of this in. Read Elaine's comment to the masses, please.
Forgot to tell you that Julian Sawyer is on the UC Riverside's coaching staff.
So this is Elaine's lovely daughter Juju. Shout out to her being on UC Riverside's coaching staff. Bam, bam.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
major.
Yes, it is. So shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out. Oh, she was touched. All right. So I know you want to talk men's hoops, and I know you're doing things differently. So do you want the top 25 up, or you got everything on your end? Like, what do you need from me as we segue?
So this is what we'll do.
What you normally call the real Seton Hall, the men's.
No. You're not getting me banished from Seton Hall. No.
Just kidding.
Yes, thank you. You're terrible, dude. Oh. Sick 'em from Elaine. She's talking Baylor. There she goes. All right, so you can put the top 25 up, but my theme continues. So as we close out, we're at the final days of the season for men's college basketball, and we're preparing for all of the conference tournaments. So the theme yet again for yet another week is the impact of the upset. So this week in the top 25, we saw 6 upsets. Okay, I will acknowledge. Let's go through some of this top 25. So coming in this week, yet again at number 1 with no change are South Texas's tough Houston Cougars. Houston comes in with a record of. They came in this week with a record of 26-3, and they are tough. But right on their heels, we have the UConn Huskies, defending national championships. Coach Danny Hurley, go Pirates, Pirates alum there. Followed by Purdue coming in at 26-3. So to start the week, you see we have a logjam at the top of records of 26-3, 1, 2, 3, and these 3 teams are definitely looking at some basketball pundits. They're all expected to come in as 1 seeds in the tournament. But Tennessee has been playing some exciting basketball. If you have not watched Tennessee play, you got to look at their shooting guard. He played at, what's the school out there by you? At Awanda. Is that the school by you, Tony?
Yeah.
At Awanda. So they have a young man named Meshack is his last name. Amazing guard, shooting guard, but he always picks up the toughest defender. And so Tennessee is playing some lights out basketball right now. And they came in ranked 4th this week. From the Pac-12, we have Arizona coming in 5th, up 1 spot this week, followed by the Iowa State Cyclones at 23-6. UNC at 23-6. They're coming in ranked 7th, followed by the Big East represented Marquette at 22-7. They fall in 3 spots because they do have one of their starting guards is out currently, and their leading scorer, he's out with an injury. Followed by Duke at 9th, 23-6, and Creighton closes out the top 10, coming in at 22-8, moving up 2 spots this week. So as I said, the theme for this week has been the upset yet again in top 25. So we saw that in the form of number 15 Baylor losing to numbers. Baylor defeated, number 7 Kansas 82-74. So Baylor got out for an exciting week with a nice victory over number 7 Kansas. Number 23 Gonzaga beat number 17 St. Mary's 70-57. And I know we have talked about seeing St. Mary's greatness because for years we've seen the Zags dominate that conference. So to see St. Mary's right there I've been happy to see that shift, but Gonzaga's still close. So we'll see how that goes down to the wire between Gonzaga and St. Mary's. An unranked Florida decided to run the score up. Florida scored 105 against number 16 Alabama in a 105-87 win there. An unranked UNLV topped San Diego State 62-58, and San Diego State had a tough week because they had back-to-back losses to undefeateds, or excuse me, to unranked. So they lost to Boise State 79-77 as well. And then we have Washington State, who's unranked, defeat number 18. Excuse me, Washington defeat number 18 Washington State 74-68. So it's been yet another week of upsets in the form of 6 upsets in the top 25. From there, we're going to go to marquee matchups for this weekend. And we're going to look at number 15, Kentucky, at number 4, Tennessee, which should be a good game today. Number 14, Kansas at number 1, Houston. On Tobacco Road, we have number 7, UNC at number 9, Duke, which is always, I don't care where those teams are ranked, just that rivalry is always so intense. And looking at the exciting student section, that should be a great game today with both of those teams being ranked in the top 10. Of course, I'm going to put my Seton Hall Pirates, who are coming in with a record of 19-11 as they close out their season tonight against DePaul. And they'll need this game as well because they're trying to go dancing. They're expected to be in the tourney, but let's close out strong. And then we're going to say, let's give some props to UCLA, man. I know it's been a tough season, but UCLA faces Arizona State tonight. And I'm going with the Bruins. Let's do it, Bruins.
So every time I look up, I see like a UCLA loss flash across my screen, and my heart drops because I think it's the women, but then I see that there's no ranking, and so then I know it's the men. But you said go back to Seton Hall being 19-11. It made me think of my boy Al, who wished me happy birthday late, but he's got affinity for 1911. So thought of him. He was on a couples therapy retreat. First of all, Al Jones as a couple with anyone is amazing. That's growth. And then he's on a therapy retreat. So shout out to Al Jones just in general. And thank you for the birthday wish. Late as it was, my brother, because you didn't have your phone with you for 48 hours. You thought of me right when you got back to civilization. So thank you. All right, back to you, Sam.
All right. So as we talk on the bubble as we prepare for conference tournaments, and we prepare for Selection Sunday, which is going to be next Sunday or the Sunday after next. So not tomorrow, but the Sunday after next. Teams that are currently on the bubble. So Joe Lunardi is following teams he has on the bubble, with the last 4 byes being Colorado State, TCU, Mississippi State, and Seton Hall. Last 4 in, he has Villanova, New Mexico, St. John's, and Virginia. First 4 out, he has Providence, Colorado, Iowa, and the Utah Utes. And the next 4 out, he has Memphis, Wake Forest, Pittsburgh, and Drake. So, as I said, at this stage of the game, a lot of these teams that are on the bubble, on the cusp, some of them are going to need to really have some impressive play in conference tournaments. But it's an exciting time, and it's so exciting that I've taken off this upcoming week so I can tap into these conference tournaments, brother. And yeah, I have. Yeah, it's that serious for me. It's that serious for me.
Hey, do your thing, brother.
That's what I do, man. Every March that week, man, I have to take it off for conference tournaments. From there, let's go to All-American Watch to close out our coverage. So when it came to looking at prospective All-Americans at the top of the season, one thing that remained as consistent, and it was similar to the NBA, how the NBA has shifted to a guard-dominant game. That's what we're seeing in college as well. So out of the 5 All-Americans I'm going to mention, 4 of them are guards, which I thought was interesting. So let's kick things off with the one non-guard, with Purdue's 7'4" centers, Zach Edey, who's averaging 24.1 a game, and he's been consistent throughout the season. And he was a preseason expected to be an AP All-American, and he's living up to top billing there. UNC's RJ Davis, he's a senior point guard, Might as well call him a point guard, at least for that team, because he's averaging 21 and a half and leading UNC. From there, we have uh, Dalton Necht. He's a senior guard from Tennessee, averaging 20.7 a game and can shoot the lights out. Another guard who has been tough for Seton Hall to deal with, and most Big East teams, has been Tristan Newton, senior guard out of UConn, averaging 15 a game. And then lastly, last but not least, Kevin McCullough Jr., senior guard out of Kansas, averaging 19 a game. So all of these gentlemen came in this season expected to be special, and they've lived up to top billing there. So shout out to those young men. And that concludes this week's NCAA men's coverage, brother. Back to you for some MLS action.
Oh,
Football.
okay. Football. Football. All right, cool. Let me go back to the. For some reason, I thought you were going to talk longer. Let me go back to the power rankings, and then
Morning, Cobbs. Appreciate you, brother.
what's up? What's up, brother Cubs? Brother Cubs, brother Cubs in the house. All right, so present, share screen. You came just in time for the world's favorite sport, Cobbs. The world's favorite sport. All right. Hello, hello. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? No, just kidding. So here we are with MLS soccer, and I'm just gonna go through these power rankings real quick. So the Columbus Crew are the defending champs, and here are our latest power rankings. The Columbus Crew, defending champs, held at 1. Miami moved up to 2. The Red Bulls moved up to 8. Moved up from 8 to 3. Cincinnati stayed. Philly dropped a bit. And here's the thing, LA Football Club dropped quite a bit after getting blanked by RSL and in the snow. And so, do we panic or don't we? LAFC came in as number 2 in the power rankings, and they are the defending finalists. I don't know if that's a thing, but anyway, they lost in the championship. So they are expected to do some things. However, they had the most turnover. Their roster had the most turnover of any roster in MLS. So we're not sure ultimately what that's going to look like. But right now, they had a dominant win to start the season, and then all of a sudden, here they are dropping. So we're not sure where they're going to wind up, but stay tuned. So, yeah. FC Cincinnati holds steady at 4th, like I mentioned, Philadelphia Union. So Real Salt Lake, that's RSL, after the win over the LA Football Club, jumped all the way from 17 to 7. So the thing is, if you can play in the snow, then you can jump in the rankings. And I think that, I don't have a vote in this, but if you look at this movement from 17 to 7 after just 2 matches, right? From 24 to 8, when we look at CF Montreal, they've moved up 16 spots. Maybe they were too low to begin with, or maybe we just shouldn't be on this roller coaster ride. But I'm sure that this will balance out as we keep going. Look, 16 to 9. It's amazing that anybody stayed put. Minnesota United and Charlotte Football Club, 10 and 11, respectively. Sam's Club. Football Club Dallas dropped from 7 to 12. Nashville raised from 9 to 13. Dropped from 9 to 13. St. Louis, Orlando, Houston, that's down the street from Sam. They dropped. The Galaxy moved up. Now, the Galaxy are in LA also, but my squad is LA Football Club. And the Galaxy also have championships, but it's been a while. Atlanta, Seattle, DC United. Remember Freddie Adu? Wasn't he like 8 years old when DC United signed him?
Man, he was a phenom, literally
Right?
selling out everything. He was on every commercial promotion. Yeah, Freddie Adu was that guy.
And I know he was actually 14, but it sounds so much better when I say he was 8.
Look,
Um,
he looked like he was 8. Like he
there you
looked
go.
really young.
There you go. Portland Timbers, Toronto. So Toronto was 27, and look, they jumped to 22. So again, I think that this is a lot of overreacting. Vancouver, New England, Chicago, New York, San Jose, Colorado, Austin. Colorado and Austin swapped. Oh no, break them both up because one is great and the other isn't. Just kidding. They're at the bottom. All right, so that's all we have for MLS.
But here's the
Major
thing. Here's one
League.
thing I wanted to tap in with MLS.
Okay, go get
So
them.
as we talk about, most teams have only played 2 matches. Their season is 34 games. So let's remain mindful of that. Like, yes, you want to come out the gate victorious in your first 2 matches, but you still have some time. So, Tony, I wanted to touch upon, and it was something that we talked about a while ago. I think it may have been over the summer, maybe. Yeah, I think maybe the summer. We talked about the expansion of the game, like specifically MLS, and what could be done to expand the game. Because, yes, you'll go to some markets and the games are sold out all the time, and it has the support of said market. But then there are a lot of places where, unless you have a Lionel Messi coming in, there's still a lot of markets that are struggling because they haven't fully absorbed or really become involved in said game. So, what do you think, man? What do you think could be done from a marketing perspective to truly expand the game so that more people are engaged in the game, like we are with the basketball, football, baseball, for instance?
Yeah, well, I think we're doing it. I think they are doing it. So, for instance, we talk about MLS, and it's a great question. I had no idea that there was any interest. So thank you for that. But this is the thing. You are a Renaissance man, and so it would make sense that you'd want to know about some sports that you don't talk about publicly, but you do pay attention to. But San Diego Football Club, that they are team number 30 in MLS, so they're an expansion club. They're coming, and they don't do 2 teams at a time like other sports to keep it even. They'll add squads. They don't care. And it's looking like Las Vegas will probably be the 31st team. They are a front runner right now. We're not talking about anybody for 32. But on the other side of things, the NWSL, the National Women's Soccer League, which is the foremost women's league right now in the U.S., they are constantly expanding. And I think that it is incumbent upon the U.S. Soccer Federation to continue to market the men. It's weird because this is the sport where there needs to be more marketing of the men's side to catch up because the women are phenomenal. So when you like if anybody, and I want to really do this at some point, but I want to poll people who I don't know and just say who is like when you think of US soccer, which player do you think of? I don't want to just say soccer because that's different, but when you think of US soccer, which player do you think of? Undoubtedly it's probably going to be a women's player, from a player from the US women's national team and not so much the US men's national team. And so because women's sports have been so underrepresented, it's a good problem to have. But if we do really want soccer to continue to grow, and I used to make all the jokes about soccer and wanting, not necessarily wanting it to go away, but just running from it. But soccer is beautiful. It's a beautiful game. I love women's soccer more than I love men's soccer. But, and I have a daughter, so that works. But continuing to market the men's game, and if they can have some better results in the World Cup, then there will be more excitement about it. But the World Cup is coming to North America. And so that is going to have um, well, the World Cup and then the Olympics are coming to the U.S. also. So that's going to be 2 opportunities for expansion. I mean, not for expansion, for excitement to manifest itself and for the marketing to continue. But it's the U.S. Soccer Federation, and then the MLS needs to keep doing what it's doing, and the NWSL needs to continue doing what it's doing. And what I also love, especially about on the women's side, you have to keep earning your spot. So it used to be you could just show up and you would never lose your spot unless you were a goalkeeper. They were pretty serious about that. But outside of that, the team was just so dominant that it was really hard for new players to break through. Well, there's definitely a youth movement right now on the women's national team, and these youngsters are stepping up. And so the baton is being passed to them, and then they're ready to, let me use all of the metaphors. The baton is being passed to them, and they're ready to grab that torch and run with it a little while, and then pass the torch on to those coming just behind them. So I think the things are happening, Sam. I don't know that anyone is missing the mark right now. I think that the wave is happening, and we just go back to 1999 with that World Cup win, Mia Hamm, and everybody remembers Brandy Chastain with the shirt off, sliding on her knees,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
everybody else like that. That was really the turning point for soccer in the U.S. There was just a boom after that, and yeah, and then I think that from the men's side, when you look at MLS, continuing to bring in some of these international superstars to insert them into the clubs, and that brings excitement because Lionel Messi coming, you mentioned it. How about this? Apple got involved, right? They came up
Hmm.
with the MLS soccer package, and you can't log into Apple TV Plus without seeing something about an MLS season pass, which is a subscription. So they're doing their part to market the sport also. So yeah, bam, bam,
Yep,
no doubt.
and to dovetail off of what you're saying, I also still feel it needs to start at the grassroots level as well. Where when I lived in New Jersey, in Camden, a city that has been, in a lot of cases marginalized. There was a soccer club there in Camden that was a free club for those families that needed access to things of that nature who may not have the traditional means, meaning funding for it. And it was a free club for kids in that community to be exposed to the game of soccer. They played at Camden High School, which has a nice turf facility. And it was great because I volunteered there. It was great to see kids who may not have had much knowledge, or even kids who were immigrants with immigrant families who did play soccer in their home country. Now here in the U.S., they were able to delve back into what they truly love. So it's awesome, and I think more cities that are marginalized or may not be exposed to so many different things due to the lack of funding. I think more organizations need to get involved with sponsoring things like soccer, since it is a world game, an international game. So now,
Yeah,
great insight from you, brother. I appreciate it.
great insight from you. I appreciate you. I mean, listen, all we have to do is you know, kick your high horse in the hind leg a little bit, and then we get your juices flowing, and then you come with some dope content. So just kidding, 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 kidding.
I'm only giving you a pass since you turned 53 yesterday. That's the only way you're getting a
Wow, so
pass.
that's what we're not gonna
Okay.
do, and you're not gonna try to flip that or any of that. 49,
Okay.
49. So, you know what? This is a time to talk about loyalty because you over there tripping.
Loyalty ain't just when it's convenient. Like loyalty ain't when it's convenient. That's why I said what I said. People scream loyalty and loyalty and loyalty, but if he ain't give you that bag, he ain't create that opportunity, would you still
I
be
got
loyal
it.
to him? You probably wouldn't. You know what I mean? But it's convenient for you at that time to do so. So you gon'
Play your position. I'll just finish his sentence.
Thank you.
Oh, he says, no, he says, play your part, play your position. There was a semicolon there. All right, you feel better now, my
I
brother?
feel. Oh, I feel better.
You feel better?
Oh, do I? Yes, I feel better. Last week. Oh, yeah. I'm always on the ropes.
So Elaine says they need to do some community stuff. Reach out to schools. When she was at, what is that, Norwalk La Mesa? Norwalk La Mesa? What's the LM? Yeah, it must be La Mesa. Norwalk La Mesa, USD, Rams, Angels, Lakers, LA Kings. They did clinics and they provided tickets for games. Absolutely. Community outreach.
Yep.
I remember that community outreach when I was a youngster too. But yep, thanks for that insight from Elaine Lamarada. Yeah,
La Mirada.
Norwalk Lamarada. I used to actually live in Norwalk post marriage. So I
Wow.
knew that. And I worked lots of games there, but I just forgot about
I
La
used to
Mirada.
go to games when I was a kid at Biola University in La Mirada because my aunt was a student at Biola.
Oh, is
So
that
yeah,
right?
yeah. So I would always, as a kid, I would always be up at for basketball camp and for basketball games at Biola University in La
Okay, so
Mirada.
for bonus points, what does Biola stand for?
Oh, I know it's a Christian school, but I don't know. I don't know what it stands for. Actually, I do not.
It's so literal. The acronym
Yeah.
is so literal, which doesn't always happen.
Mhm.
Bible Institute of
Of La Mirada.
Los Angeles.
Oh, Los Angeles. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Nice little
By the way,
campus tucked in a residential area.
yeah, I have a Biola lacrosse game coming up too.
Oh, okay.
Sometime soon. I had SC twice last week. Well, Sunday and Monday. I had them against
Nice.
Aspen, and I had them against Utah Tech. Utah Tech was formerly Dixie State.
Yeah, my cousin plays cornerback for their football team. Shout out to Micah Gardner.
Shout out to Micah Gardner.
Yep. Yeah, man, Utah Tech.
Utah
All right,
Tech.
brother. From there, you know it was time to gear up for.
All right. My man is about to kick y'all off with the culture. The culture. The culture. And I have nothing, so you got it.
All right. So as we talk the culture is a segment in which I typically will turn you on to some new music that I'm listening to that I find interesting. But for this week's installment of the culture, I'm actually going to start off with a movie that I just saw the trailer for. And the movie comes out on March the 15th, so this upcoming week, and it's entitled The American Society of Magical Negroes. And it's starring David Allen Greer, who is one of the funniest men in the world. David Allen Greer, in this movie, here's a synopsis of said movie. If you haven't seen the trailer for The American Society of Magical Negroes, the story is about a young man who gets recruited into a secret society of magical black people who dedicate their lives to making white people's lives easier. Although initially enamored with his new powers, he begins to question the value of using supernatural means to do the very thing that he's felt obligated to do his whole life. I think this movie is going to be a movie in which art is imitating life because in so many settings, especially career settings, for those people of color, black people, we often feel like we have to do things, we have to go above and beyond to give others insight on what reality is. So I'm looking forward to seeing the American Society of Magical Negroes this upcoming week. From there, let's transition into music. Now, for those of you who know me, for those of you that listen and watch the show, you know every week I'm usually coming to you with some hip hop, R&B, which I love. But I got a little bit more depth than that. So two projects that I wanted to highlight for you. First one is an Afrobeats project, and it's by J5 and Loj, and it's called the Loveless EP. For those of you who like Afrobeats, Afrobeats is world music. It's music from the motherland, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Great music for partying, great music for just relaxing and reflecting, and it's a music that you can feel in your soul. So check out J5 and Loj, Loveless EP, if you're into Afrobeats. The second project, for those of you who enjoy house music, is by DJ Poolboy. DJ Poolboy, Poolboi, and it's entitled Into Blue Light. That project is one that I have been rocking all week. I've listened to it every single day. And as a lover of all things house music, I say check out Into Blue Light by DJ Poolboy. And that concludes this week's culture.
Okay. So thank you for that. I just can't let that go. Okay. So as someone who is not a lover of all things house music, I before you said that, I was going to go listen to DJ Poolboy,
Man,
Poolboy, but I'm
yes.
not a house music. I'm not. I don't like despise it or anything, but I'm not a house music fan. But I was almost compelled because you listen to it all week. But
All week, dog. I love house music though. So
I got you. Shout out to Elaine. Thanks for coming through. She's gonna go watch Baylor, Iowa State. Cobbs is co-signing what Trilogy said about David Allen Greer and the mythical, magical Negroes train
the
ride.
American Society of Magical Negroes.
Okay.
But did you hear the description?
I did.
They use their superpowers to make the lives of white people easier. That is crazy. I gotta see it.
No, I guess I didn't hear it.
Yes, that's the premise. This young man gets recruited into that magical society, and they dedicate their lives to making white people's lives easier. But they're black.
What?
Oh,
That sounds like some David Allen Greer. That
oh, doc.
like
You
David
gotta
Allen
watch.
Greer in character does that a lot. Makes white people's lives easier. I don't think he does that in real life, but yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting. Have me. Cobb says had him or Sam had him at Magical Negroes. So I just want to follow up. Sam hit the nail on the head with the DJ. What's his name? DJ Polo?
DJ Poolboy.
No, not. I'm moving on, dog. I'm talking
Oh,
about
okay. Okay.
um, Master Ace and
Oh, Marco Polo.
Marco Polo. Really? His name's Marco Polo? That's so weird.
Yeah, Marco
So
Polo.
Marco Polo's voice is his voice, and you either roll with it on that project or you run from it because he's almost every other song as a skit really just talking to you about his life, and I got used to his voice. But let me say this: Brooklyn Heights, and that's not even one that Sam pointed out.
Number two on there.
That is the number one track on that Brooklyn Heights. Listen, my friends, I did listen to the entire project like I promised to on my way to Lancaster. Yeah, the drive was that long. But just listen to this beat. Yeah, it's Master Ace kills that lyrically. I'm assuming it's Marco Polo's production.
It is.
It's great. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I will co-sign the project also. I'm not going back to every song, and it's really hard to because I probably listen to Brooklyn Heights about 6 times a day. So it's hard to go to the other ones, but I know that Sam pointed out PPE as his top pick on there.
Yeah, poor people everywhere. That
Yeah,
one.
and
Yeah.
I did like that one. Let me see what else did I like on there. Yeah, I like some tracks. I liked I liked Hero. Well, that's the first. Yeah, I liked Hero. PPE. Oh, plant based is super dope.
Yeah.
I couldn't introduce it to Sam because Sam introduced the project, but I sent it to my sister who is vegan, and she loved the track. She absolutely loved the track, and it was great to know about Master Ace's
Yeah, he's vegan.
his evolution. I'm like, I can't think of my term. His evolution as a person, which included
And
going plant based.
just a heads up for you, we're working on timing. Ace has agreed to come on to the show. So I've spoken with him. He's agreed to come on to the show, but he's been traveling, touring Europe. But he said as soon as he gets some downtime, he's going to join us on the Collective podcast. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's what's up.
Yeah. So that's going to be undeniably dope.
Yeah, he could talk to the poor people everywhere. Yep. All right. Well, at this time, we're gonna do TikTok now. So yeah. Um,
This is Tech Talk Now.
let me turn. So I'm gonna turn that up.
This is Tech Talk Now.
Sam with that is so like. Do you guys realize how hilarious he is with that? His head get to going.
This is Tech Talk Now.
Oh, I know what I was doing. I'm turning up the wrong volume. Okay, let's do that again one last time with the right volume.
This is Tech Talk Now.
That's what I wanted. All right, so now I will turn it down so that I can play my background music, and we're gonna go to Tech Talk now. So this one will be kind of short, but as always, welcome to Tech Talk Now, a segment of the Collective Podcast. I'm your host, AC from LA. I don't even know my own name. And today we're delving into the fascinating world of biometric authentication. Specifically, we'll explore the latest trends in biometric technology and how they're shaping cybersecurity, personal privacy, and digital identity verification. Biometric authentication is not a new concept. For years, fingerprint scanning has been a common method for unlocking smartphones and laptops. However, recent advancements have taken biometrics to a whole new level. One of the emerging trends in biometric authentication is vein recognition. Yes, vein recognition. Unlike fingerprints, which can be easily replicated, vein patterns beneath the skin are unique to each individual. I thought fingerprints were unique, but okay, veins, right? This technology uses infrared light to capture vein patterns in the hand or finger, providing a highly secure form of authentication. Another innovative trend is heartbeat biometrics, which measures the unique pattern of a person's heartbeat to authenticate their identity. This technology relies on sensors that detect the subtle variations in heart rate and rhythm, offering a non-invasive and highly accurate method of authentication. Perhaps the most futuristic trend in biometric authentication is brainwave authentication. By analyzing the electrical signals produced by the brain, this technology can verify a person's identity with remarkable precision. While still in the early stages of development, brainwave authentication holds immense potential for enhancing cybersecurity and personal privacy. The adoption of biometric authentication has significant implications for cybersecurity and personal privacy. On one hand, biometrics offer a more secure and convenient alternative to traditional passwords, reducing the risk of unauthorized access to sensitive information. However, concerns have been raised about the potential misuse of biometric data and the need for robust privacy protections. It seems like in a lot of these segments, I'm talking about privacy protections. Maybe there's a theme. Biometric authentication is also driving a paradigm shift in digital identity verification. With biometrics, individuals can securely access their devices, accounts, and services without relying on passwords or PINs. This shift toward biometric-based authentication has the potential to revolutionize the way we interact with technology and safeguard our digital identities. As biometric authentication continues to evolve, it's crucial to strike a balance between security and privacy. While biometrics offer undeniable benefits in terms of convenience and security, it's essential to implement strong privacy safeguards and ethical guidelines to protect users' sensitive biometric data. Believe it or not, that's all for today's episode of Tech Talk Now. Join us next time as we explore more cutting-edge trends and innovations in the world of technology. Until then, stay curious and stay secure. Thank you very much. Get the applause.
Encore, encore, encore.
Oh, you want me to do it again?
This is Tech Talk Now.
No, man. So this one, I know you said it was a condensed or a shortened version of what you usually deliver. That doesn't mean that it was less meaningful. Like the scanning of your veins. Like, I don't. First of all, let me just pull back the curtain a little bit. I don't know even how you decide what you're going to cover for Tech Talk. I don't know what you're reading, but whatever it is, you need to start letting me know where I can read it because you absorb a great deal of all things technology and it's so well versed. So props to you, man.
Thank you for
that was dope. That was dope.
Read that. Read Cobbs.
This segment could use the Sam Jackson Coming to America meme. What? Veins and brain scanning. We're all gonna die.
Oh my goodness. My man Cobbs. So one of our viewers has thanked you, Sam, for the house music recommendation and also the Afrobeats recommendation. And then
Well,
of
thank
course,
you.
yeah. You know, you can comment, person, whether you're anonymous or your name, you can comment on YouTube. Also, please send a like and subscribe and all of the things.
And tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Come
Yeah,
rock with us.
Shout out to Trey Hop, who used to say tell a friend to tell a friend. He's the one that brought that to the show. So yeah, Cobbs. And well, thank you, Sam. Thank you for letting us know that this is beneficial information. The Tech Talk Now team really does appreciate that
This
feedback.
is Tech Talk. This is Tech Talk Now.
One last time.
New AC from LA.
All right. Well, listen, we have just run through this amazing episode of the Collective Podcast, episode 137. And it's now time for the closeout.
The close out.
Well, hold on a second. I didn't say you had to be anonymous, but you're sending me text messages, and I'm just saying you could comment on YouTube so everybody can see your comments. That's all I'm saying. I didn't say you had to be anonymous, but that's so funny. What's up, my man Roddy T?
What's happening?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So Rod and I went to junior high together, and he went to my locker the other day. Yeah, it's a show with David Allen Greer.
No, it's a movie.
It's a movie with David.
Yeah, it comes out on the 15th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he wants to know what he missed. So he went back to my locker at Orville Wright Junior High, which has a new what is it, Orville Wright Middle School now, or something else. But anyway, my locker was 2218, and my combination was 40-22-40. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I've never forgotten. And so he was at the lockers the other day, but I was working a game, so I wasn't able to give him the combination to see if it worked. But yeah, just bringing back memories because we had a lot of fun times in junior high. A lot of fun times throughout our lives together, but definitely in junior high when we saw each other every day for 2.5 years. I did leave for the first semester of 8th grade, so we only saw each other on the weekends for that first semester. Then I went back. All right, so that was Tech Talk Now, and that is Sam typing. So now we're going to go to... Oh, we got a whole bunch of comments coming in. All right.
That's me.
Oh, that's Sam. Okay.
There we go.
My man's in them. Oh, you went to all the places. Here you go.
Just dropped it so you can see it.
Here you go,
Check out the trailer for that. It comes out on the 15th next week.
This is what you missed.
Yes.
Also, for the culture, just throwing this out there, it's a good season of BMF. If you watch BMF, I don't know what happened with one of us was supposed to talk about episode 1 last week.
Oh,
I don't know if it was me or you.
I was supposed to talk about it, but we had some other heavy stuff.
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
didn't want. It would have been a weird transition, so that's why I
yeah,
held off. Did you watch? You watched episode 2 yesterday?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. For
So,
those of you, no, you go ahead. You started
no, go
off.
ahead. For those of you,
For those of you who watch BMF on Stars, so BMF, for those that may not be aware, BMF, the Black Mafia family, became one of the largest drug trafficking organizations in the United States. It was led by the Flannery brothers from Detroit, um, Terry and Meech Flannery. Terry has served his time and since been released from prison. Meech remains in prison. He is up. His defense is pushing for an early release, trying to get him released by 2025. He's serving a 30-year sentence. Interesting thing about BMF is when I lived in Atlanta, BMF had transitioned in the early 2000s and made their way to Atlanta. And a lot of their dealings became responsible for closing down the club scene in Atlanta because there was a lot that transpired, a lot of bad things that transpired. And when BMF was indicted, it was a multi-jurisdictional across the U.S. bust that took place at the same time. So they did it up to the moment. Boom! The feds kicked in doors at all their homes throughout the Atlanta area. They had one home called the Castle. They had vehicles that were all retrofitted where they had stash compartments for drugs and money, and millions of dollars of cash were found at all of their properties. And as I said, it was multi-jurisdictional federal investigation that happened in a sting that took place over years because the organization, they would go from city to city, starting in Detroit, but city to city, and it pretty much built an infrastructure where it looked like a web, where it spread out all throughout the U.S. and they had people from every city, state, and built this superpower. So a couple of interesting things is when they came to Atlanta, one of the things that they wanted to do was charade as a music label, which they were a music label, I guess you can say. They had an artist named Blue Da Vinci, and they backed Young Jeezy at the time. And so they had billboards, two billboards, one next to the Brave Stadium that said, BMF, the world is ours. And it almost looked like that picture of the Last Supper where Big Meech was center along with all of his lieutenants that were around him. And so that's what truly put them on the Fed's list when the Fed said, BMF, the world is ours. Who are these guys? And literally back then, that's when I was in the club scene. So any club in Atlanta, you'd go out and you'd see 10 cars pull up. And I'm talking from Rolls Royces, Bentleys, Ferraris, Lambos, any car. And they would pull up, and then they would have about 4 or 5 humongous bodyguards to escort them past the general admission line into every club, man. So watching this, having seen those guys face to face in real time, this BMF series is crazy. It's crazy, man. Hope I didn't hog too much.
I mean, it's just you being you, but it was definitely some beneficial information. So you know, they they appreciate that. But I'll say this, equally. Thank you for that. So equally exciting or equally compelling is Love Is Blind season 6. I just I just want to say here's the billboard that Sam's talking about,
Yep.
courtesy of the History Channel and Mark
Mm-hmm.
Dark TV. All right, bam, craziness,
Yeah.
right?
But the
Um,
other one literally had them around a table with Meech centered, and it was like, who are these guys? Yeah, it's crazy.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Roddy worked a pre-Oscar party last night. He'll tell me about it later. But he said Mahershala Ali and Jalen Rose and
Marshawn?
Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch are all very cool folks. Super, super
Mm-hmm.
cool. So equally compelling, Love Is Blind season 6. Just want to throw that out there.
Opposite ends of the spectrum. So, can you give like a real life Love Is Blind synopsis?
All I have to say is when you get to episode 12, you shouldn't have been surprised. Love Is Blind is a show that is a Netflix original, and it's hosted by and partially EP'd by Vanessa and Nick Lachey. And what it does is it brings women and men together, and they date sight unseen. They date through walls. And the idea is to become engaged without ever having seen the partner who you've fallen in love with on the other side of a wall. And so it's you date a whole bunch of people all at one time, and then the cream rises to the top. And so again, it's season 6, and our people. That's all. Our people, and it's not a show of just our people. But all I had to say is our people. All right, it's the closeout. I'm gonna go ahead and give you your music again. I'm gonna let you go ahead and close out, my brother. Get it.
All right, man. So for this week's closeout, this closeout stems from a series of conversations you and I have had, believe it or not. And so we talk about the excitement of every week we come together. We have these conversations throughout the week. We have conversations, and it always seems like we've never had a one-off conversation. We just have a series of run-on conversations that all interlock or interweave themselves. And so as it pertains to me, man, like joining the Collective podcast for me has been great because I think our energy matches very well. And as I've said before, we're truly friends and more importantly, truly brothers. And so, man, I appreciate you yet again for bringing me on this journey with you. And I appreciate everyone for coming out, listening to us every week and watching us every week and enjoying an hour or so of this guy and I just having a good time. Like, I don't want to let that go without really just expressing my gratitude. So my closeout is, I guess it's, when you have a good people in your life and when you have an opportunity to do some fun things that you enjoy with those people, just jump in and enjoy yourself. So that's it for me this week.
All right. Thank you for that, my brother.
Get ready for the closeout.
Halfway through it.
New SG trilogy.
Yes.
Get ready for the closeout.
So that takes us to me, and I'll be brief. As always, let your people that you love know that you love them. I got some love yesterday for my birthday, and I appreciate all of that. My daughter Kayla is the light of my life, and she had a really good time yesterday. It was Literacy Week. I think it was Literacy Week around the U.S., but if not, it was definitely Literacy Week in her school district. And so they had to do different things throughout the week to participate in Literacy Week. And for Friday, it was dress up as your favorite book character. And so because Bluey is not only one of her favorite series to watch, but it's also one of her favorite series to read, she dressed up as Bluey's little sister, Bingo. Well, I bought her a Bluey and Bingo t-shirt and leggings set. And then I also bought her Bluey and Bingo headbands with the ears. And so the idea was for her to be Bingo, but she's so innovative. She was parts Bingo yesterday and then also parts Bluey, but then her friend didn't have any kind of costume, so she let her friend be Bluey. So she was Bingo and Bluey, and then she was Bingo. But she had a great time all week, and then she especially had a great time participating, on Friday. And then that transcended to us going up to finally pick up my car, which I didn't have for a month because it was in the shop. And then we went to go to dinner with my mom and my sister, and then I had dessert. Cool situation after dinner. But Kayla was super happy, and that makes me happy. And so she knows that I love her. I know that she loves me. I love my family. Just please let your people know. And then again, you don't have to love everyone in your family. So protect your peace at all costs, as I always say. And that's all I got. Episode 137 of the Collective Podcast.
New AC from LA.
This has been a ball. I got some happy birthday love. Thank you. I'm sure this is Sam hitting everybody every spot. Yes, hashtag a father's love, Rod. That's on a lot of my posts. Absolutely. Hey, episode 137 of the Collective Podcast. Thank you, everybody, for coming through. Anybody watching anonymously, thank you. Thanks, Rod. Anybody watching anonymously or just watching, right, and not commenting, thank you for watching. Anybody watching and commenting via text, thank you. To Elaine, to Cobbs, to Roderick, thanks for actually coming through and commenting and spending the early part of your Saturday with us. Cobbs and Roderick, you're here Pacific time. Elaine is there with Sam in Texas, in Waco, so Central time for her. Thank you for coming through. This has been a ball. I'm about to go work some lacrosse. And then Sam's got Sam's got some things to do today. So episode 137. We are up out of here. Thanks for coming through. Catch you next time. You know I didn't mean to play that. You know I meant to play pop. All right, y'all. We're out. Thank you.